Streusel coffee cake is our take on the beloved classic with extra crunchy streusel topping. I'm starting with the streusel topping while we're talking about it. So this is 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour. To that I'm adding 3/4 cup of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. Give this a quick whisk to combine. Just want to break up those chunks of sugar into the flour here. You can already smell the cinnamon. It smells delicious. And now I'm going to cut in 1 1/2 sticks of cold unsalted butter that I've cut up into little cubes. This makes it a little bit easier to work with. So you can either do this with your hands, kind of mixing everything together. You'll squeeze the butter in between your fingers to get smaller clumps. Or you can also use one of these tools. This is a pastry cutter, and it makes for fast work on pushing the flour and the butter together. So you do want to leave some bigger chunks of butter in here, about pea size, because that will help keep the nice crumbly topping on your coffee cake. And now I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of chopped toasted pecans. You definitely can leave the nuts out of this if you don't love nuts, but I happen to be a fan, so I'm gonna put them in my streusel. Put those inside, mixed all together. So that's it for the streusel topping. And now we also have extra cinnamon swirl inside the cake. So to make that, I have a cup of chopped toasted pecans here, a 1/4 cup of light brown sugar, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Give this a quick stir to combine, just like that. And now since this has butter in it, I'm gonna keep it in the fridge until I'm ready to sprinkle it on top of my cake. Onto the cake batter. So I'm starting by creaming my butter and sugar. I have 1 stick of room temperature butter here. Really important that this is soft enough to whip together with your sugar. And 1 cup of granulated sugar. I'll get this going on medium-high until it's light and fluffy, which will take about 2 minutes. While this is going, I can make my dry ingredients. So I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour here. To that I'm adding a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder, and a 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. Quick whisk to combine as always. Okay, this is looking good. And now I'm adding 2 large eggs at room temperature. Give this a mix to combine. Now that that looks smooth, I'll add in 1 1/2 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. So now I'm ready to incorporate my dry ingredients. I'll be alternating with 1 cup of sour cream that I have here. So I'll put in about 1/3 of the dry ingredients. Looks good to start. Start on slow. And when that's just about combined, I'll add 1/2 of the sour cream. All right, so another 1/3 of the dry ingredients. Now the second 1/2 of the sour cream. Finally, the last 1/3 of the dry ingredients. Let that spin for just a few seconds until it's combined. And I will finish this off with my spatula just to make sure it doesn't overmix. The last few folds by hand. Make sure you get off all the stuff on the bottom of the bowl. It's looking really luscious and fluffy. Now we're ready to layer our beautiful coffee cake. So here I have a 9-inch tube pan which has been buttered and floured. This will help make sure that nothing sticks when you bring it out of the oven. And I'm gonna put 1/2 of the mixture into the bottom of the pan. Now I'll just spread this in an even layer along the bottom of the pan. It looks kind of crazy to be putting this batter into this size pan, but it does spread a lot and it rises when it bakes, so it's good to have that extra space. going to put my cinnamon swirl into the center. So just generously sprinkle this all the way around. If you're enjoying this video, if you love to make baked goods, please like, subscribe, check out other videos. The Everyday Food channel has a ton of other great recipes. Okay, that looks good. And now the other half of the batter. So again, just dolloping around the center of the pan. Great, looking good. Now finally, the best part, the streusel topping. You definitely want a generous amount of streusel on your coffee cake. The last of my streusel is going in, and now it's ready for the oven. I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees. I'm gonna bake it for 50 to 55 minutes until a toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean. My cake is out of the oven. It smells amazing in here. You can really smell the cinnamon. I'm so excited about this one, but first we glaze it. I have a cup of confectioner's sugar here, and I'm adding 2 tablespoons of milk, whisking to combine. This is one of those things that you kind of just do it by what consistency it is. Sometimes you need to add a little more milk, sometimes you add a little more sugar. This is a pretty good place to start, and it looks like it's gonna be right on. That looks good, nice and smooth. All right, ready to glaze this beauty. I'm just going to spoon the glaze right over the top. Wow, it looks so good. It's so beautiful, and it's really easy to travel with because it's a pretty sturdy cake. You could even bring it in the pan if you want. And now, normally I'd say, let this sit for at least 5 minutes to let the glaze set up, but I think I need to dig into this right now. Can you hear that crunch? Oh my gosh. All that streusel topping, and there it is. This is like the ultimate coffee cake. You have your moist cake, your cinnamon swirl, your crunchy topping. Oh, it's everything you want. I have a feeling you're gonna reach for this recipe over and over again. Enjoy.